Tonight on the Night Report, the Little Baldy Fire burning east of Hillyard forced Level 3 Go Now evacuations today. We know one home was damaged. What you need to know just ahead.
We may be starting this week slightly cooler, but we're still keeping track of breezy winds and elevated fire weather.
Plus, Bryan Kohberger announcing today he wants to take back his guilty plea, saying he was misled. What happens next in his quadruple murder case? Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Night Report here on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. Some breaking news tonight. Spokane residents evacuated earlier today for the Little Baldy Fire. They can now return home. Officials have downgraded the Level 3 Go Now evacuations to Level 2 Get Set evacuations. You can see that area here shaded in yellow. This is for that fire burning in northeast Spokane. Those Get Set evacuations are for folks living north to Clements Lane, south to Valley Springs, east to Thurman, and west to Custer. Officials say the fire is about 100% lined tonight. More than 70% contained, 64 acres burned. We do know that the fire did cause some damage to one home, but it is still standing, and other homes were threatened today as well. Get to our other top story tonight. Today, Bryan Kohberger filed a petition to withdraw his plea. Just last year, Kohberger pleaded guilty to killing 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Xana Kernodle. He was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences. Kohberger agreed to the plea deal weeks before his trial was set to begin in August of 2025, after his attorneys tried but failed to remove the death penalty as a possible punishment. Tonight, KREM 2's Connor McAvoy breaks down the petition and how Kohberger plans to fight his conviction and withdraw his guilty plea.
It's been 1 year since Kohberger was convicted of murdering the 4 students. Now he's arguing he's innocent, and that'll fight that conviction.
During his sentencing, Kohberger said under oath that he was of sound mind and understood what he was agreeing to in accepting the deal. In court documents filed Monday, Kohberger accuses his former defense team of pressuring him into pleading guilty to 4 counts of murder. Even with the plea deal, as a prisoner, Kohberger does have the right to ask the court for post-conviction relief. In an affidavit supporting a post-conviction petition, Kohberger claims nearly every member of his immediate family believed he had been convinced to falsely confess through coercion, misinformation, false promises, and the withholding of evidence. The filing alleges attorneys failed to disclose what Kohberger describes as potentially exculpatory evidence before he accepted the plea agreement. Among those claims, Kohberger points to what he says were unknown hairs found in Ethan Chapin's hand and argues his attorneys failed to investigate them further. The petition also claims attorneys falsely led him to believe guilt or innocence was not an important factor in deciding whether to accept the plea. The filing further accuses his legal team of misrepresenting both what a life sentence would actually look like and the realities of facing the death penalty. Attorney John Henry Brown, who once represented Ted Bundy, says the process to withdraw a guilty plea is significant, and if it goes through, it opens up the possibility of Kohberger facing the death penalty.
If he's allowed to withdraw his plea, then they're back to status quo, and the prosecutors can ask for the death penalty again.
In the petition itself, Kohberger lists 3 primary grounds for post-conviction relief: ineffective assistance of counsel, that his guilty plea was not entered knowingly or voluntarily because of unkept promises, and that the plea was the result of threats by his legal counsel. Brown also says Kohberger's own guilty plea could be used against him if he ends up going to trial.
If he was allowed to withdraw his plea and the case went back to trial, the state would probably be allowed to get into evidence the fact that he pled guilty to these crimes and actually said in no uncertain terms, I'm pleading guilty because I am guilty.
Those allegations are contained in Kohberger's post-conviction petition and represent his claims. The court has not ruled on the merits of those allegations, and his former attorneys will have an opportunity to respond as the case moves forward.
Now, the prosecutors have 30 days to respond to the petition. After that, the court will hear initial arguments from both sides. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Kaylee Gonzalez's little sister, Aubrey, released a statement late tonight. She expresses frustration that the man convicted of silencing Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana continues to have a platform. She says in part, quote, "This isn't a Netflix documentary. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't entertainment. This is my life. These were real people. And every time this case is dragged back into the spotlight because of another filing, another theory, or another attempt to rewrite history, families like mine are forced to relive the worst day of our lives." We'll certainly keep you updated on that story as it moves through the courts. But for now, let's talk about weather. We've got meteorologist Cody Proctor in our Outdoor Weather Center tonight. Cody, what can we expect as we move into tomorrow?
Well, one thing that we can expect for tomorrow, Sydney, is that we are looking at the return of more wind moving in, especially as we head into our afternoon hours for tomorrow. We had a little bit of wind today, but right now that's not expected. That wind we had today could be a bit gustier as we head into tomorrow. Right now, as we check in outside, currently we're at 76 degrees over the Spokane airport. Our winds very light, just coming out of the southwest. That relative humidity, as we continue to cool down and get closer to that dew point, we start to see that relative humidity start to pick up, but still incredibly dry out there right now tonight. Around our region, our temperatures are mostly in the 70s. Sandpoint is saying it's down into the low 60s. Not sure if that's completely accurate right there, but we are starting to see those temperatures start to cool down a bit for us for tonight. Around our region, those winds relatively calm to light for the most part. It's mostly seeing some of those breezy winds around central Washington. We still have multiple air quality alerts in effect through Wednesday, in particular for these areas in the gray right here. This includes north central Washington into northeast Washington right here, also part of North Idaho, around Clearwater and Latah counties. Hour by hour as we head into tomorrow, we're looking to start things off in the low 60s for us before we gradually warm up throughout the day. But we do expect those winds to pick up as we head into our afternoon hours thanks to a dry and cold front. Highs could be only into the mid 80s tomorrow. More in your full forecast coming up.
Cody, thank you. Another fire broke out today near People's Park in Spokane. We don't have specifics on this fire yet, but we know there weren't any evacuations issued today. This is video of the fire from just a few hours ago. You can see how much smoke was coming from that area. We still don't know much about the exact acreage or cause, but we'll keep you updated when we learn more. About 60 people are displaced tonight after a 5-alarm fire ripped through an apartment building in Spokane Valley over the weekend. Officials say the fire damaged 24 apartments and destroyed 16 of them yesterday. The fire started outside the building before spreading inside. While sprinklers activated indoors, there were no sprinklers in the outdoor patio areas where the fire is believed to have started. Today, KREM 2 spoke with people who escaped with only moments to spare.
And I see my kitchen window and it's completely engulfed in flames. There was so much smoke in the apartment and you couldn't even see above the door frame when we left the apartment. So I engulfed the whole apartment within minutes.
Now, officials say despite the fire burning only half the complex, the whole building has been deemed inhabitable. Crews are monitoring the area to make sure that there are no hot spots and to let some of those affected back into their homes. Fire officials confirmed that there were no injuries reported. Several animals, though, died in the fire. The cause remains under investigation tonight. New tonight, we're learning a 58-year-old Spokane man has been sentenced to more than 31 years in prison for repeatedly raping 2 girls under the age of 15 at gunpoint. The Spokane County Prosecutor's Office says Anthony Hampton sexually abused the 2 cousins over a 2-year period while having a relationship with one of their relatives. Investigators say he blindfolded the girls, threatened them with a gun, and warned he would kill them and their family if they told anyone. Hampton has 10 prior felony convictions, including kidnapping, assault, and drug distribution. A judge sentenced him to 378 months to life in prison in May and ordered lifetime community custody, barring him from ever contacting the victims again. The Washington Attorney General's office has reached a settlement with Hayden Homes that will return $1.6 million to homeowners who paid illegal fees when selling their homes. The state says Hayden Homes required thousands of Washington homeowners to pay a fee to its nonprofit partner First Story each time their home was sold. Under the agreement, affected homeowners will receive full refunds plus interest, and Hayden Homes must remove those covenants from properties across Washington and stop using them moving forward. A bat in Spokane County tested positive for rabies, marking the first confirmed case in the county this year. The Spokane Regional Health District says the bat was sent to the Washington State Public Health Laboratory for testing last week. Officials say no people or pets were exposed. They do remind residents, though, not to handle bats with bare hands and make sure your pets are up to date on their rabies vaccinations. All right, stay with us. We have a lot more to cover tonight, including new information about the victims in a deadly shooting in Seattle over the weekend and the search for a gunman.